Hey kids, you're listening to a couple of annoyed grunt boys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast.
Tell me over and over and over again, my friend.
Again! Again! That's enough.
That's right, we're the Simpsons podcast that discusses the beloved animated sitcom The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond, and the newest episodes when they air. Why do we do it like this? Well, plenty of other podcasts out there have discussed the golden age, that being seasons 1 through 10, so we're tasked to find if any episodes from the latter seasons can match those golden age episodes that we all know and love. And I don't do this alone, because I'm just one annoyed grunt boy named Craig, and with me, as always, is...
Steve, the other annoyed grunt boy.
Hello, Steven.
Hello.
I don't want to date this podcast, but I'm going to have to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say congratulations to you and your Philadelphia Eagles for winning the 59th Super Bowl. I mean, the big game.
Yes, of course, the big game. You know, I really thought the Super Bowl would have more tongue action since Super Bowl 59 spells out licks.
I guess no tongue action for Travis and Taylor, right?
Oh, no.
She's going to have to start dating Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah, I think it's dumb to have a name, to be a football player, and your last name Hurts.
And especially, you know, as a fan, you get his, like, jersey, and, like, you know, what if your team loses? Everyone's going to make fun of you, like, oh, you must hurt, because you lost, but they didn't.
Yeah, because they didn't, because the Eagles soared again. And if you're a listener to this podcast, you know that I live next to the premier Philadelphia Eagles bar in Portland, Oregon, for some reason. And they were out in the numbers and very loud, chanting, "The fly, Eagles fly."
Did you have to, like, hose your house down before the game just so, like, they don't, like, catch it on fire?
Yes, I did. I had to, like, put flame retardant all over the place. And I don't know if I mentioned this in years prior, but the owner of the bar will staple pictures of Miracle Whip on a telephone pole, because evidently in Philadelphia it's a thing where people put Miracle Whip on the poles to prevent people from climbing them.
But he just puts pictures of Miracle Whip?
Exactly.
Okay. Philadelphia Eagles fans they're just a bunch of knuckleheads, aren't they?
I think that's the right word for it. Knucklehead.
I don't want to piss any Eagles fans off, because that's one of the few sports franchises that they can do no wrong. They're fine. They're great.
Yeah, and they're definitely not violent or angry.
They don't, just celebrate by shooting a loaded gun in the air and crowded people. No.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do something like that.
And it's hard to tell if the city is celebrating or the win or the loss the way that the wreckage happens.
Right. They're not crazy like, oh, here's a traffic light and it's red. Let's take it down because it's the color of the Chiefs. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Hey, we're not a Sporto podcast, Steve.
No.
We're a Simpsons podcast. But look, the Simpsons had so many episodes about football, so I think it's okay. We could talk about the pigskin.
I think so. And also, Craig, the episode that we're talking about today briefly talks about stamps. And did you know, this is a fun little fact, in 2012, the USPS released a series of Simpsons stamps which wasted $1.2 million because they produced over 682 million of them, and only about a third of them sold.
Didn't know there was Simpsons stamps. Did you ever get them?
I didn't, and evidently a lot of people didn't, because it was a huge loss for the post office, because philatelists don't exist in the numbers that they thought.
And apparently Simpsons fans don't care?
Yeah, I guess not. So, I guess if you have Simpsons stamps, they might be worth something?
The only Simpsons stamps I care about is Simpsons Stampy.
Indeed.
All right, Steve, we should just get on with this week's episode of The Simpsons. And we're going to have to step into the old time machine that we have here to find out what was so popular during this time of this episode, which was September 18th, 2005. Steve, what was everyone coming out of the theater seeing that weekend?
Well, it's everybody's favorite movie, starring Mark Ruffalo and Reese Witherspoon, Just Like Heaven. You know that movie?
Mark Ruffalo, huh?
Uh-huh.
This is before he hulked out.
Indeed.
Never heard of it, Steve.
So, David, played by Mark Ruffalo, is a recently widowed architect, because that's what people do in movies, moving into a new apartment in San Francisco. But the apartment isn't empty. It's haunted by the ghost of a woman named Elizabeth, played by Reese Witherspoon.
Still doesn't ring a bell.
Napoleon Dynamite is in it, and so is Donald Logue, and that's about all I know.
All right. I don't think we're going to be watching it on our Patreon, Steve.
Probably not. But maybe we'll talk about the music of the day. Craig, what was the number one song on the Billboard charts?
Well, I wasn't a fan of this guy, but I sure am now, Steve. It's a song featuring Jamie Foxx called Gold Digger by Kanye Hitler.
That's right. Oh boy.
Little known fact, Kanye West and his wife, what's his wife's name? Bianca Censori.
Mm-hmm.
When Steve and I go out, he makes me dress like Kanye's wife.
Ah, yes. I need to see that labia.
Has there been a bigger downfall of a celebrity than Kanye? I don't know.
I think you're right, because, I was never, really a fan. People who were, really liked him. They considered him to be, the best rapper of all time. And, yeah, he had quite the fall. Probably didn't feel good.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel good to fall into, a gorilla closure at a zoo.
No, that would be really bad.
Harambe, Steve.
Dicks out for him. That's why the number one song on the Billboard alternative charts is Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz.
I was never into the Gorillaz. I don't know. It just that song was on all the time, and just not into it as much as you, I think.
They were a huge blind spot for me. I actually started listening to them a year ago, even though nobody talks about them anymore. And they're good. It's a lot of different artists, and very interesting. They play a lot of dance music, a lot of rock, a little bit of rap.
What about roll?
A little bit of roll, but there's one genre that they don't play, the more Western type of music.
So they should play something by, a country artists?
Yeah, they should play something country.
Oh, I see, country. By the law offices of Brooks and Dunn?
And how, yes.
Don't ya love that song, Steve?
I do. Don't you, Craig?
Yes, I do.
I like how this song features busting rhymes.
And vagina cat dolls.
Indeed.
Which is what the hot electric song of that day was, Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls featuring Busta Rhymes. Alright, Steve, we're done being funny. So let's go and be serious, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to talk about this week's episode, The Girl Who Slept Too Little, in which Lisa can't sleep because a new cemetery is being built right outside her window. What is she ever going to do? Well, let's find out, Steve, by watching the episode.
Oh boy.
Alright, we'll be right back.
Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? Can't you feel the fears I'm feeling today? Button is pushed, there's no
Come home from Iraq, my wife says. Fallujah's too dangerous, my wife says.
look around you, boy.
Oh, yeah, shake it, baby.
And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend,
And we're back. Today we're talking about The Girl Who Slept Too Little. It's the second episode of the 17th season. It's episode 358 in the show's run. Your original air date was September 18th, 2005. Your nerd code is GABF16. Written by John Frink, directed by Raymond S. Persi, and the showrunner, Al Jean.
The director sounds like Sean Connery making fun of Ray Romano.
Raymond S. Persi. Alright, yeah, I get it.
Raymond's a pushy. Sorry. John Frink, American television writer and producer. He wrote a lot of episodes of The Simpsons, many with his co-writing partner, Don Payne, which we talked about recently. So they've written 9 episodes together, and John Frink has written 39 all told. And this is the 16th that we've reviewed. Other ones that we did, Simpsons Tall Tales, The Bart Wants What It Wants, The Wandering Juvie, Bart Magel Bannard, The Girl Who Slept Too Little, which we're talking about today, All About Lisa, Lost Horizon, The Bob Next Door, 500 Keys, Politically Inept with Homer Simpson, that's one with Ted Nugent, What to Expect When Bart's Expecting, Love is in the Gas, Simprovised, and the most recent, which is Old Yeller Belly, which we reviewed just a few weeks ago.
How could you not forget about Old Yeller Belly, Steve?
Oh, yes, Old Yeller Belly. That was a good episode. We liked it, I think.
Not as much as we love Pixelated and Afraid.
That's true.
Johnny Frink. What more can we say about him?
He wrote Hope and Gloria.
That's about it.
Okay.
All right. On to our episode, Steve, with a couch gag. And this one's fun because it's claymation.
Oh.
Yeah, Steve, do you remember claymation?
I do. Those raisins from California and the rest.
And your Wallace and or Gromits.
That's true.
Yeah. Steve was a big Wallace and Gromit fan back in 1997.
I was. I had 3 of their video cassettes, and they were enjoyable.
And now where are they, Steve?
Not on my bookcase, which I thought they might be, but I think I got rid of them.
Oh, okay. Did you watch the newest Wallace and Gromit?
No, I remember recently hearing that there was a new one, and I was kind of excited about it because they are a lot of fun. I'll probably check it out soon, though.
Yeah, it's a sequel to one of the old stories. I watched it, so there. I win, you lose.
It's true. You are winner. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, so there's this 6 multicolored balls of clay rolling around the ground, bouncing on to one another, and then they hop on the couch. So then the balls take shape, Steve. Steve, can you make your balls take shape?
As long as it's round and one's higher than the other, then yes.
So one, get this, is Homer, the other, Marge. Then 3 more shaped to the Simpsons children. That's Bart, Lisa, and Margaret.
Oh, yes.
Who the hell's Margaret? There's another ball, Steve, and that forms that character from SNL.
Buckwheat?
No, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh,
no,
yes.
Mr. Robbins' Neighborhood, yeah. Gumby. What the hell is a Gumby?
I don't think... Do the kids... Does Gen Z know what a Gumby is?
You think it'd be like an ironic character that they wear on t-shirts now, like they don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that was our era.
Yeah, I do remember, like, in the 90s, kids wearing, like, a Gumby and Pokey shirt, like a Ringer tee or something, ironically.
Yeah, now they wear a Pokemon to the Polls shirt instead.
Hawk 2 of the polls nowadays.
Gumby is like before us too. Like it wasn't for me, Steve. I'm sorry.
I remember watching it as a kid and being like, this is visually stunning and incredibly boring.
Like most of David Mamet plays.
Yes.
I don't know. I was trying to sound smart, Steve. Did that work?
Yeah, the visuals are what really get David Mamet plays.
Let me try to sound smarter. Okay. Much like a Michael Bay joint.
There you go. That's better.
Okay.
Although I do love the special effects in Glenn Ross.
That's it. We got our Gumby.
All right.
Great couch gag, Steve. Good job.
Wonderful. So our episode begins, as it always does, in the morning at 742 Evergreen Terrace. The sound of hammering, sawing, and even jackhammering rouses Marge from her slumber. Homer, meanwhile, mumbles and dances to the rhythm of the construction, while still fast asleep. Marge asks Homer to do something about the noise, and he stuffs a pillow in her mouth, and then rolls over and continues his funky sleep dance. As the family steps outside, they see Ned also looking for the source of the ruckus.
It's 7 a.m. What are they cock-a-doodly doing?
Flanders, I can't listen to your crap before my coffee.
Oakley dokley, here's some French roast. Now I'll go make toast.
Stupid best friend, Flanders.
A stamp museum?
Oh! Stamps! Those are for snail mail! Stamps rule! Suck!
Well, they can't just start building in our neighborhood without asking us. Whatever happened to please and thank you?
I think they killed each other. You know, one of those murder-suicide deals.
I like how Homer acknowledges Flanders as his best friend.
Yeah, but really, Ned, French roast? Come on. You can do better than that.
Italian roast?
Even worse.
Portuguese roast?
Now we're talking.
Steve, what's your roast of choice?
For those not in the know, French roast is like the well-done steak of coffee. Like, you basically just roast it forever until it's, like, burnt and oily. Or as Starbucks calls it, a light roast. Oh man, our coffee roasting listeners are gonna crack up. No, I'm sorry, I'm a dork. It's just, like, in the 90s, it was very popular to do dark roast, like French roast, because it's a safe bet and good for espresso, but, like, in today's modern coffee world, there are more nuances, and so you go for a lighter roast because you get more flavor out of the bean.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but I mean, drink what you like. It's my own preference, but...
So, the fact that I like a dark roast makes me inferior?
No. It's you like what you like. I mean, some people drive Porsches, some people drive piles of crap. It's fine.
All right, fine. I'll only drink light roast from now on, Steve. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Maxwell House, here I come.
The fine house, that Maxwell House.
Do they still make Maxwell House?
I'm pretty sure they do. I haven't bought coffee in like a decade because I work in coffee and I get it for free, but
that's like the old saying, why buy the cow when you could fuck it for free or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever walk down the coffee aisle at the grocery store just to look at it for fun?
I do, actually, all the time.
No.
I like to see like the brand that I work for, to see like how they're looking and to see what other brands are doing. Yeah, it's something I do, but
Steve works for a company called Folgers. It's pretty new in the market.
Yeah, they're new, but they're good.
I remember I had like instant coffee for the first time like a while back, and God, that stuff's nasty. How do people drink instant coffee?
I do not know. I've tried a lot of it, and it's never good. Like, I want it to be good. It seems like a fun idea, but yeah, it doesn't work.
It's like, why buy the fuck when the cow is free?
Exactly. Like, would you just pour water on a cow and hope that it turns into a fuckable steak? I don't think so.
Fuckable steak. How did we get to coffee talk on this podcast, Steve? We should talk about The Simpsons.
Yes. I really liked Please and Thank You dying in a murder-suicide deal.
And then, like, when he's chanting, like, stamps, like, rock, I mean, suck. Like, he just doesn't know what to...
Yeah.
This is, like, pure Homer, just like, he's just a walking, talking catchphrase or a character now. Yeah. Murder-suicide deals. That's something that you and I have something to look forward to in our future. Well, Steve, local residents such as the Hibberts, the Lovejoys, Lenny, Carl Apu, Sideshow Bill, and Alice Glick form a protest on the construction site with signs that say cancel the stamp museum, make war, not stamps, and Springfield doesn't like museums.
That's my favorite.
Marge agrees with the mob that the construction needs to stop, saying that all the noise is jiggling her grapes to the bottom of the Jell-O.
Ew.
After asking what man would want ruined gelatin-based dessert. I mean... Not me.
No, it's kind of gross. So Homer begins chanting 2468, I hate stamps, they ain't great. But when that fails to excite the crowd, Homer tries another chant saying 7431 before realizing that he just revealed his PIN. And he asks the protesters to forget the code, but they all scribble it down on the notebooks that everyone always carries in their pocket.
Like, what are they going to do with his PIN? Like, you have to have his card, right? At least in this time period, 2005?
Yeah, it's not even like you could go online and or use a banking app to log in. Yeah, so.
There weren't apps in 2005, Steve.
Unless you were at Chili's.
Or Applebee's.
It's true.
We don't have Chili's in this location of our country.
No, isn't it just like spicy Applebee's, though?
Define the term spicy.
Like, sexy.
Yeah.
Or neurodivergent, I don't know. I'm on the internet too much.
Yeah, I don't think... I think we used to have Chili's, but yeah, you're right, it's just Applebee's, it's TGI Fridays, it's Uncle Moe's family feed bag.
Yeah, it's not fancy like the Outback.
Or an Olive Garden.
That's true.
So, Homer displays a sign that says Death to America, with the America crossed out and replaced with Stamp Museum. And he changed himself to a bulldozer, and then Bart joins in too. He's on a giant drill, though. So the operator of the drill is indifferent to Bart there, and he begins drilling while Bart's a chat Steve. Because of that, it just liquefies Bart's body. He's dead, because that's what would happen in real life.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a sad end to a wonderful boy.
But since it's a cartoon, It doesn't kill him, Steve, and he's actually enjoying this drill, which is funny because he's like, again, and then like after the second time, he's like, no, I'm good.
He's had enough. So Marge tries to sabotage the site as well by sneaking behind a dump truck and putting a single hairpin in the back of the dump truck. So this causes the truck to flip over and burst into flames. And the driver crawls out of the truck in flames, muttering to himself, "Come home from Iraq, my wife says. Fallujah's too dangerous, my wife says." And I love that.
Didn't we have a joke like that a couple episodes ago where it's like, you laughed at it?
Yeah, I do. I like the trope of a man who his wife is fearing for his life, and the reality of life in Springfield is far scarier than the one that he went from. It's a good joke.
But classic Simpsons blowing stuff up with the hairpin. Just
Yeah.
So 4 construction workers take their lunch on a beam, and as a woman walks by, they all catcall her. And then Homer rides on a tractor wearing a pair of cut-off jeans, and in front of the tractor says a sign, "Jiggling for Justice." So as he passes the workers, his bosom shakes and his back fat agitates, and his ass eats those shorts for dinner. That's cake, Steve.
Ooh, yeah.
Revealing those sweet butt cheeks of his. So seeing this, the workers recoil in horror and falling off the beam to their death, I'm assuming.
One would assume. I remember, and I think it's kind of a meme now, the Jiggling for Justice.
Yeah.
I remember this, but I don't necessarily remember it from this episode.
Yeah. And, I've definitely seen this GIF go by on the internet once or twice.
Yeah. I say we all jiggle for justice in this world because we need it more than ever. So the neighborhood praises Homer for his civil actions, but as Kent Brockman reports on the happenings, Marge is less pleased with the outcome.
All right, Homer! You beat those stamp Nazis with good old-fashioned American complaining.
Homer, if it weren't for you, we'd be at the mercy of weekend philatelists.
You know, why didn't you just say stamp collectors?
Because I'm tired of dumbing myself down for you.
The Postal Service is sending a change of address card to itself. The Stamp Museum will now be built on the site of the Springfield Cemetery. The cemetery will be moved right here, next to the Simpsons.
Oh, instead of a stamp museum, will be next door to a graveyard?
Look at the bright side, Marge. When I die, you can mourn me from the bathroom. That's multitasking.
This is a little too spooky for me. I don't even like watching the count on Sesame Street.
1 coconut, 2 coconuts, 3 coconuts.
Go back to your own country.
A rare sighting of the Rumpus Room.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And rare, I guess, racial outburst from Marge.
Yes. She hates Transylvanians.
It's so... Yeah. It's like the worst thing you could say to anybody.
It is. It's really bad.
Unless, like, they're white, which then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, of course.
Because then my country would be like, I don't know, England. I'd love to go back to that country.
Yeah, and I'm sure America would be glad to get rid of you, finally.
Go back to your country, Steve.
Okay. England for me, too.
I'm all over Europe, Steve.
Yeah, I think I'm mostly, like, England and Sweden, and a little bit of Ireland. But yeah, it's all over.
I'm Irish, French, English, German.
Nice. Those Europeans be fucking.
With a hint of somewhere in the Middle East, I think. I forget.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm 1% African.
The Elon Musk kind or the good kind?
The good kind.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So the graveyard is moved next door, with workers lowering tombstones into the lot and then hammering them for a spooky effect. A cawing raven is placed on a bare tree branch, and a metal gate is installed with creak oil added to the hinges to ensure optimum creaking.
Would you be okay living next to a cemetery?
I think so. I mean, as long as, like, Michael Jackson didn't appear singing Thriller every night.
Or a stamp museum, Steve.
Ooh, it's tough. I mean, sadly, the Postal Service is nearly dead, so I think they'll both be a little bit of a graveyard.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Postal Service will be bought out by a big company, and that's the whole point, Steve.
That's true. That's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not a political podcast. So, as night falls, an owl hoots in the distance, and the graveyard is complete. Lisa looks out of her bedroom window, complaining that hers is the only one facing the cemetery, which I don't think that's true. I think Bart's would face it as well.
And when Marge was in the rumpus room with Maggie, she was looking at the construction site, so clearly she would be fine too. She would be seeing it too.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, or Maggie doesn't live in the rumpus room, Steve. She has her own room.
I suppose so, and that rumpus room disappears from time to time.
Canonically has only like 4 appearances.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Maybe that's where Roy lived. Remember in the Itchy and Scratchy Poochie episode?
Oh, yeah.
Back to Simpsons, Steve. Bart tells Lisa that when the zombies eat her first, she won't have to listen to the rest of the family being devoured. That's a plus. Lisa sarcastically thanks her brother for the comforting thought, and he thanks her for the sound of the zombies chomping on her brains, which will be an alert for him to get away.
Good for her. But Lisa argues that zombies don't exist, causing Bart to point out that the non-believer is always the first to get feasted upon. So Lisa grabs Bart by the arm and pushes him out of her room, shouting at him to stop scaring her. So she slams the door shut, then screams as she finds Bart making faces on the other side of the window. Lisa reminds him that he should be working on his homework. He agrees and he asks for her help before continuing to make scary faces on the glass.
So that evening, a car drives by Lisa's room, and the shadows of its headlights turns the tree branches into frightening claws, reaching at Lisa. She nervously reminds herself of belief in science and reality, dismissing the existence of ghosts and monsters. Just then, Snowball 2 appears on the windowsill with a skull on his head. Lisa screams in terror and runs out of her room as the cat nonchalantly licks her paw.
So Lisa runs into Homer and Marge's room, asking to sleep in their bed, and Marge welcomes her on the condition that it doesn't become a habit. And so Homer makes space for Lisa, kicking out Santa's little helper out of the bed, followed by a small television set, a blender, and the top of a parking meter.
That's what that was. I was looking at that. What is that?
Yeah, at first I thought it was, like a shopping cart wheel. It took me a while, and, I had to, go back about 3 times and look on the internet, so.
Yeah. What was he doing with the parking meter? That's just the most obscure thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Homer also kicks Marge out of the bed, but seeing the blender, she knows why she's been smelling margaritas at 3 a.m. Homer chugs the cocktail, saying that he loves to wake up drunk in the morning. Alcoholism, Steve. That's funny.
Yes. Yeah, and waking up drunk is, it's a feeling. I've been there. Don't miss it.
I wouldn't know what that's like as of this record, Steve.
Of course
not. It's not like the big game was last night.
Right. It's not like you were celebrating all into the night of the big game. So the following morning, Lisa tosses and turns in bed, kicking Homer to the floor. And Marge shows empathy to Lisa's fears, but tells her that all the kids in the house sleep by themselves. They don't even hear Maggie cry at night, but Marge discovers that's because the batteries have been removed from the baby monitor. Homer explains that he needed the batteries for his remote control helicopter.
Poor Maggie.
I know.
Crying all night. But she's probably learned to be self-sufficient because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know she is. So if you have kids out there, babies, remove those batteries from your monitor. You don't need them.
Yeah. Do you have a baby monitor?
Yes, I do.
Nice. Good for you. Are there batteries in it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a camera that has Wi-Fi, Steve.
Ooh.
Yeah. If we're out of town for the weekend, I can just look anywhere on my phone. Like, oh, the baby's fine.
Oh, good. You can just leave whenever you want then.
Yeah.
Convenient.
So, as Marge pleads with Lisa to sleep on her own, Homer's helicopter flies around Marge's head, and she bats at it, but Homer informs her that there's a toy soldier stuck in her beehive. So he uses a hook attached to the radio-controlled chopper to save the little green man, saluting the toy and saying, "No soldier left behind." He's really good with the helicopter there.
Yeah, this is before drones were a thing, so
right.
Good on Homer, and that's a cool little helicopter for the time. I would love that.
He's able to land it fine and fly her. Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Homer. So Marge asks for Homer's help, and he bargains with Lisa that if she sleeps in her own bed, they'll do something fun the following day, just for her. And noting that the stamp museum is completed, Lisa suggests that they check it out.
Can't believe it took us 40 minutes to get here. Why can't they build a stamp museum closer to our house?
Dad, you fought tooth and nail to get it away from our house.
Lisa, when you've sustained as many blows to the head as I have, consistency is something I love you, Bart.
this Lenny's house?
Hey, Simpsons, that'll be $40. Oh, I thought it was 20. Yeah, that's per axle. Park over there in Carl 4. No early outs.
Can't believe you're making money off this.
Oh, yeah. Living next to the Stab Museum is making me a mint. I bought a diamond for my belly button. You guys need water?
No one's gonna pay $1 to drink water from your hose, so go!
Pay the man, Homer.
You know, we were talking about the big game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since you live next to the Philadelphia Eagles bar, you should have charged $1 for people to drink from your hose.
Oh, yeah, I should have. And I also should have charged for parking with, like, my 2 spots that can fit in the cars that
Yeah.
are usually filled up. But, yeah.
I mean, you probably do have to turn that hose on the fans after they won, right?
Yeah. They were trying to climb the telephone poles. And they were, like, spray painting our trucks and our houses, like, say, "Go Birds."
Eagles fans really are knuckleheads, you know?
I will say that last night, I was taking out the recycling, and there were, like, the bar was kind of letting out, and people were, like, talking in the, like, and I just, like, shouted as I was entering, "Go Birds!" And, like, you would think that I would have been, like, "Free candy for everybody forever." Like, they all cheered at me. And I just said, "Go Birds." That's all I had to say.
Yeah, they probably would have hoisted you on their shoulders and marched you around town.
Yeah.
It's like you discovered the cure for cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if Homer didn't protest the Stamp Museum, he would have made a mint like good old Carl there. I mean, Lenny.
Yeah, and it's funny that Lenny has a diamond in his belly button, because doesn't he also have a diamond in his tooth from Lisa Needs Braces Dental Plan?
He loves his diamonds.
Almost as much as he hates getting things in his eye.
In addition to the parking area, see the car forward, there's also a Selma 3 and Ralph 3. So, yeah.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So the Simpsons enter the museum, walking by giant stamps hung on the wall celebrating Andrew Jackson, Booker T. Washington, and Mark Twain. Lisa is excited to see the innovators and people of note as they go into an exhibit celebrating the fathers and mothers of invention. They pass a video display of Frederick Ives, who states that he invented the halftone printing process. Next, they see a piece for Catherine Blodgett, who brags about making non-reflecting glass, and under his breath, Homer calls her a butterface.
How does he even see her body?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, is like... Because, like, as problematic as it is, the term butterface implies that she's got a bangin' bod. And maybe he just knows, like, maybe he, you know, the internet wasn't as good there, so maybe he was, like, looking through history books to jack off, and, like, he saw something about Catherine Blodgett, and he's like, damn, she's got cake for days, but that face.
Well, now I have to do some Bing research, Steve.
Catherine Blodgett nude. Nope. Nope. Just that one photo over and over again. Well, she's all right, though.
But again, that's like a of the time term, like 2005, like the term butterface was used widespread.
Yeah. Spread, butter. Huh, that's funny.
Pun was not intended, but thank you.
Yeah.
But now we know better, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Next is a 10-cent stamp depicting Alexander Graham Bell. Then it plays that's saying that he was the inventor of the telephone. And next to him, or behind an overflowing trash can, is a 1-cent stamp of Elijah Gray, who meekly states that Bell stole the invention, causing Alexander to hold up a pendant around his neck and declaring, "Read the patent number, bitch."
Yeah, I mean, that's true, though. Like,
Yeah.
Bell was a dick. Kind of like Edison. Like, all the inventors that we
Right.
know stole from other people. It sucks.
And that rumor that Shakespeare stole all his plays from people, or just he was a producer, and right? And like
Yeah.
the theory is that other people wrote it and he just took credit for it.
Yeah. Everybody steals from everybody, so I guess that makes it okay. That's why I
That
wrote
means-
the great book, The Great Gatsby.
Oh, no. Then they ended up making a 2-part episode called The Great Fatsby based off of it on The Simpsons. It's all your fault, Steve.
I'm sorry. Blame me, F. Steve Fitzgerald.
Well, if that's the case, Steve, that everyone copies from everyone, then we should forgive Carlos Mencia.
Oh, yes. and that crazy mind of his. He was hilarious with his jokes from Louis C.K.
And Louis, you're forgiven too.
Yeah.
Now come.
Don't say that.
Down and... Oh boy.
So the family then sees a series of stamps dedicated to the Land of the Wild Beasts, a parody of Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. As Bart and Lisa walk by the various creatures, Lisa says that it was the first book that she finished all the way through, leading Bart to ask why anyone would want to finish a book all the way through. They then enter a theater who celebrates the work of the children's author.
Milton Burkhart's work has touched on every genre from books to films to advertising.
All right, commercials.
Once upon a time, a bad boy was sent to bed without any dinner. But then, something magical happened.
Huh? Oh, is this the land of the wild beasts?
No, this is the land of the wild feasts. The Hillside Wrangler Steakhouse. I'm $4.99 steak.
I'm all-you-can-eat salad bar.
Yo, I'm Sneeze God. Put it on a glass, dogs.
And I'm Jumbo Shrimp. Maximum 2 servings.
That's bullshit, man.
Out of the blue, just that's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. First of all, are you familiar with the work of Maurice Sendak and, of course, Where the Wild Things Are?
Yeah, you stupid bitch.
Okay, good. I think at this time, too, the movie had come out that nobody liked, but it was fine.
The Spike Jones film?
Yeah, I don't know who it was for, because it wasn't exactly a kid's movie. It was more for, like, sad indie dudes, but at the time I was a sad indie dude, so I thought, hey, this is a good movie.
Sad indie dude? Are you talking about the last Indiana Jones movie? Just watch the trailer to Where the Wild Things Are, and that's better than the actual movie.
Yeah.
Great trailer. Yeah, I had the Where the Wild Things Are book when I was a kid. I don't know if I actually finished it, though, because, it was kind of hard to read.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full 28 pages, and you can't, who has time for that, especially as a child? I do enjoy the animation of the characters in The Simpsons as the Maurice Sendak. I think it's really good emulation.
Do you think the jumbo shrimp, when you said 2 servings, like, is it of that size, or, like...
I think probably normal, which is still... I think Homer's right. I think it is bullshit.
Yeah. All you can eat shrimp? That made, didn't that make Red Lobster go bankrupt because of the all you can eat shrimp? I should have gone to that, because I probably could take down a lot of shrimp.
Oh, yeah. That's something that, like... Shrimp is good. I could eat shrimp all day.
It's funny, like, I'll get sushi, but I never get those, like, shrimp sushi ones, because it's, like, kind of a waste of money.
Yeah.
I'll just get actual raw fish and not the shrimp. But, like, cocktail shrimp, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's times when I'm at, like, the local Kroger and it has, like, the $10 sticker of, like, shrimp for, like, $10. I'm like, I could just get this and not tell anybody and just eat this in the parking lot.
Parking lot shrimp, the best.
Do you have a shrimp preference, like, size-wise, or...?
I mean, I don't like to be intimidated, so... I think medium's fine.
I don't like bay shrimp could go fuck itself.
Oh, yeah.
I guess if, like, you're mixing it with something, but even then, it's just, what am I, a fucking asshole?
I mean, yes, but I think, yeah, I hate, like, the little shrimps. Like, it's fish food. Like, I want to eat, I'm a manly man, and I need my manly shrimp.
But would you eat a giant shrimp, like, in the cartoon here?
I mean, maybe.
Like, could you imagine, like, when you pull the poop intestine out, like,
oh, God.
It's probably, like, bigger than our intestines.
Oh, yeah, it's just like a rope of
shit
feces.
String.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
That is pretty gross.
Oh.
Ugh.
All right. Well, Steve, on the screen, Max forks a bite out of that jumbo shrimp's head, saying, "I love you, Hillside Wrangler." Also, $4.99 for a steak. Man, I want to go to this restaurant.
Yeah.
In 2005, That's really good deals even then.
Mm-hmm.
As it displays that it is now in one inconvenient location, the author of the intellectual property is then introduced. When asked what led him to the magical world of children's books, Milton Burkhart shares that he wanted to be a children's book illustrator ever since Playboy wouldn't publish his cartoons because they were too filthy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I thought that it's funny. It's a great joke.
Yeah, that's really funny.
He wants to be...
Yeah, he's a pervert.
Yeah.
So back at home, Lisa happily flips through her copy of The Land of the Wild Beasts in bed until a crash of thunder and lightning leads her to look out the window, where she sees a familiar face. She calls out to who she thinks is Groundskeeper's Willie, but the bearded man in the raincoat tells Lisa that he's actually Willie's cousin, Gravedigger Billy.
So Gravedigger Billy goes on to say that he's been digging graves for 30 years, and he's never buried one alive. If he were to bury a live body, a bell above the ground would ring. As he says this, the bell rings. And then Billy scoffs, saying, "It was just the wind," and then a hand emerges from the ground, but the gravedigger claims that it's merely a tree branch, adding that the branch is wearing a nice watch. So he beats the hand branch repeatedly, causing Lisa to shut her window in fear, and then run to the bed of Marge and Homer, who are just arriving from a party.
What a lousy party. I don't care what Apu was in a past life. In this life, he's a blabbermouth.
Oh, and that Dr. Hibbert was so boring. Homer, we've got to get that lump checked out. Homer, we must discuss your test results. Homer, we've got to find you a donor. Blah, 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 blah.
I thought those people were your friends.
Look who's sleeping in our bed again.
I didn't know grown-ups said bad things about other grown-ups.
You see, sweetie, when a mommy and daddy are married for years and have nothing new to talk about, they badmouth their closest friends.
But I thought it was wrong to talk about people behind their backs.
I spy with my little eye a girl who's not sleeping in her room like she promised.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I spy with my little eye something with 4 legs that can't run.
Homer, we're not really playing.
Oh.
Is it the chair?
Exactly. Now, what has 2 ears but can't hear?
Grandpa!
Tragically, yes.
Aw, Homer just wants to play a game with his daughter.
I know, it's fun.
Did you know adults talk about other adults behind their back, Steve?
Well, a few weeks ago, I went over to a friend's house to meet their baby. And when we got home, me and my wife, we talked shit about them all night long.
Steve, you don't have friends.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Again, Marge, talking about Apu, but saying I don't care what he was in his past life. He's a blabbermouth in this one. Again, Marge is pretty problematic in this episode.
Surprised she didn't say he should go back to his country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Marge.
Maybe she should be wearing a red cap, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Because she's a Shriner. Marge offers that she and Homer sleep in Lisa's room to show that they aren't scared. Homer agrees, coyly warning that the Snuggle Monster may show up. And Marge welcomes the implied sex, provided that that the How Was Your Day monster and the Foot Rub monster also make an appearance. And then she continues to say something about maybe, the mutual oral sex monster, but Homer assures her that no monsters will be there.
So are they just talking about fucking in Lisa's bed in front of Lisa?
Yeah, I guess so, and it's just weird.
I imagine Homer and Marge probably have done it in all the rooms and all the beds.
And
it got me thinking, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you think your parents ever fucked on your bed?
No? Hopefully? Did your parents ever fuck on my bed?
I think they did.
Oh, okay.
Because you guys used to leave your house unlocked.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom and dad were like, yeah, we're going to go to Steve's. I'm like, that's weird. He's here.
Yeah, keep on playing those video games, kids. We're going to be back in 10 to 15 minutes. I assume my parents stopped having sex in 1981.
What if they actually stopped having sex in 1978?
Whoa. It's a bit of a relief, honestly.
Doesn't she sleep in like a twin-size bed, maybe even smaller? I don't think Homer and Marge can really fit in Lisa's bed. All right, well, we'll find out. Because later that evening, a raven scratches his claw against Lisa's bedroom window, causing Homer and Marge to shudder in fear. And Homer admits that Lisa's room truly is scary. As they watch Gravedigger Billy lead his cousin, Willie, to an alleged pot of gold in the cemetery. And Willie looks, but only finds an empty grave. And he calls Billy a lazy bastard, unaware that the gravedigger is about to hit him with a bat. Man, this gravedigger Billy's up to no good.
Yeah, and like it's sad that two immigrant guys from, Scotland, they live in the same town and yet they can't get along. It's depressing.
If they can't get along, Steve, then what hope for there is there for the rest of us?
Not much, I say, not much. So Homer, Marge, and Lisa return to the primary bedroom, which Homer considers to be the only safe one in the house. So Lisa asks about Bart's room, but Homer tells her that Bart's race car bed has faulty brakes. So we then cut to Bart's room, where his bed drives into every corner, causing Bart to repeatedly say, ow, ow, ow.
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Me too. I mean, my wife, not yours.
My wife. Marge, looking to get some sleep, asks Lisa if she might stop reading soon. And Lisa agrees, deciding to watch TV instead. So she turns on the Retro Channel Rerun Land, which is showing a 65 episode of Bonanza. So in the Western, Black Hat, a cowboy accuses the Cartwright's boys of eating his apples. And then Cartwright denies, and then asks the antagonist to keep a civil tongue. And the cast of the show all just stand there still as the Bonanza theme plays. When Marge inquires if Lisa's actually interested in the show, Lisa replies that this time the Ponderosa may actually be lost. Just then, Bart's race car bed bursts through the wall, causing Homer to shout, "Learn to drive, boy." Nice callback. I didn't think we'd see the race car bed again.
Yeah, and, I think at the time, Bonanza, they're making fun of Bonanza because they were, gunning for the most episodes of a scripted series. The Simpsons were, and before them, the Bonanza had them beat.
I've never seen a single episode of Bonanza. Is that pretty much how they roll?
I think so. I know the theme song, and that's about it.
All right.
Yeah, because they had 431 episodes, so...
We're almost going to beat Bonanza.
Yes. Both in episodes and viewership of people under the age of 65.
Can't wait.
So Marge feels that they need professional help to tackle Lisa's fear, so the next day they pay a visit to Psychiatry Row, where they pass such mental services as 99-cent Shrink, Quack in the Box, and Sit and Weep, where a child therapist asks about Lisa's past. Marge admits that Lisa didn't get a whole lot of nurturing since Bart was such a handful, and that she basically took care of herself. The therapist then asks for some old home movies, causing Homer to hold up one VHS cassette that he could find, labeled Little Lisa, and it follows that it says Milwaukee Bucks, Cleveland Cavaliers pregame.
He's got to tape the pregame. So on the tape, Marge is changing Lisa's diaper when she hears Homer call out, "Why, you very little?" And then Marge goes to stop Homer from choking the little toddler Bart, leaving Lisa to powder herself and change her own diaper. So the therapist then asks, "Who filmed the scene?" And Homer explains that it was a stationary camera.
Do you think that, one of the writers was like, "Who's filming this?" And then they just, had to, have an answer real quick?
Yeah. I've been, rewatching Wonder Years.
Oh.
And the intro, who's holding the camera when they're doing the cast?
That's a good question.
Because the dad's flipping burgers and the mom's, serving them. The kids are all at the table eating.
Yeah. Even, Paul and Winnie are there, on film.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Maybe it was Daniel Stern.
Yes. Then he turned to a life of crime, moving to Chicago, and teaming up with that guy. Joe Pesci, thank you. It just completely left my head. So after a dismissive look, the psychologist explains that Lisa overcame her neglect by suppressing her childhood fears. She then offers a 10-week program that can help Lisa become a kid again, adding that it is well worth the $4,000 that it costs. Marge is shocked by the price, and Homer begins to say that you can't put a price on his little girl's happiness, but then cuts himself short and tries to grab the program's workbook from the doctor's hands.
And Homer tells Marge to run and start the car, so he knocks over several bookcases and throws a toy house, trying to block the therapist from chasing him. And the counselor plainly states that she's not going to chase Homer, and he says that she won't unless she can leap through fire. As he lights a match, he's going to burn her office down. and presumably kill her in it too. But Marge quickly blows out that match, so Homer doesn't commit arson.
Whew. Save the day again, Marge, you good old racist. Standing outside of the cemetery with Bart and Santa's little helper, Lisa states that she can't keep sleeping with her parents. Bart adds that if Homer rolls over, Lisa could be crushed to death, but Marge showed her how to build a retaining wall out of pillows. So Lisa decides to face her fears, and she enters the cemetery, and the gate slams shut behind her.
As an owl hoots in the distance, Lisa discovers that she's locked in. She has second thoughts about taking matters into her own hand, and she shouts at a guard passing by with a set of keys. She asks for the gate to be open, but the guard tells her that he doesn't actually work there. He was just visiting another security guard who died.
So Lisa tells herself that if she can spend the night in the graveyard, she'll never be scared again. And then she tells Santa's little helper that he's free to return home whenever he wants, and so the dog leaps off of her head, over the gate, and to the safety of his own home. Lisa then discovers Dr. Nick, who has a large sack marked body parts, and meanwhile, the Springfield Police Department is also working on a case in the cemetery.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hi, everybody. I'm not Dr. Nick. I'm Dr. Octopus. Ha! I'm going to get you, Spidey. Then I will have upside-down kiss with Mary Jane.
Hmm? Bye, Dr. Nick.
Bye, Lisa. And remember, you have a checkup next Thursday.
We don't go to you anymore. We have a better doctor.
Oh, congratulations.
Boys, that grave robber could be anywhere. The most vital thing is that we stick together. Where did everybody go? Okay, this is it, Clancy. No squad car, no backup, legs cramping in fear, sweat in my eyes and groin. Oh, I'd better get out of this damn cop uniform before someone takes a shot at me. There we go.
Good old Dr. Nick. I feel like this is a good showing of Dr. Nick. I like him, playing Dr. Octopus.
Steve admitted you just liked it because of the Spider-Man reference.
It's true, I did. But, if I were a doctor and I had 6 extra arms, I would play Dr. Ock too.
Would you want to do an upside-down kiss with Mary Jane?
Indeed. Although nowadays, there's a lot of, internet buzz that Petey in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1 should have gotten with Ursula, who was supposed to be the wallflower of the episode, or the movie. But I there was nothing wrong with the Mary Jane.
Wasn't she the bad guy in Little Mermaid? Ursula?
That's true. Yes, and and I don't think she likes men, based on her, coding.
Oh. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what was that, Spider-Man 2, right?
It might have been, yeah.
She fucking, didn't she, bake him cookies and just hey, Peter, I made you some cookies.
Yeah, she's super sweet.
And he's like, fuck you, bitch. Yeah, I mean, that was our first live action Spider-Man portrayal and Mary Jane portrayal. I guess we haven't really had another Mary Jane portrayal, right? Because technically the Zendaya is not Mary Jane Watson, right?
Right. Is she MJ something else or yeah, she's not exactly Mary Jane.
I think it's I think her name is Michelle something. Michelle Johnson, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they say it in one of those Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had 2 Gwen Stacys?
Yeah, and I will say that up until the 90s, Gwen Stacy was Peter's main until she died. Spoiler alert. And Mary was just kind of flirting with him always. And it took him a while to get around to Mary Jane.
Well, didn't Stacy die in the 70s?
Yeah. But Aunt May kept on trying to hook them up because they were she was friends with her aunt, and it took a surprisingly long time for them to get together, I think.
What about Felicia, Steve?
Felicia, that's who he ends up with and is ultimately very happy with.
That's the Catwoman, right?
Yes.
What's her name?
Oh, Black Cat.
Black Cat. Her name's Felicia, right?
Yeah, and she's a very original character. A bad character who's a cat burglar who dresses like a cat, who tries to be good, but is so allured by the, by the life of crime that she kind of goes between being a hero's girlfriend and being a bad person. Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome, Dr. Nick. Clancy strips naked, discovering that his Walkman has been hidden in the folds of his back fat this whole time. So he presses play on his tape and struts through the cemetery while strategically placed mist hides his hog.
Mm-hmm. Pig's
'Cause
hog.
He's a pig, Steve.
Yeah.
Pig's hog. The other officers continue their hunt with Lou telling Eddie that he actually was accepted to law school, but he couldn't afford it. And Eddie hears a noise, and Lou says that it's his life slipping away from him.
Oh, poor Lou. So the officers, unaware of what they heard, as cops do, decide to draw their guns. Nearby, Lisa calms herself by remembering the lessons of Scooby-Doo, that the only thing to fear is crooked real estate developers. Lisa hears Eddie step on a branch, causing her to point a flashlight at an owl that is soaring towards her head.
So many owls in this episode. What is this? Hooters? I don't know.
I like it, yeah.
Okay. How big is a cemetery, too?
Yeah. Also, before anybody gets pedantic, I know that we've been using graveyard and cemetery interchangeably. No, it's fine. For the record, one of them is next to a place of worship, like a church, graveyard, I think, and the cemetery is not, or vice versa. But it's fine. So nerds, just be cool.
And nerds are always cool on the internet.
That's right.
I do like the Scooby-Doo reference. That's great.
I am amazed by the lasting power of Scooby-Doo.
Like how many iterations they keep making.
Yeah, even in this, in 2005 or whenever this episode was, it was still going with the movies with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar. And even to this day, there are new Scooby-Doo cartoons, and there was one with Mindy Kaling that nobody liked. But it's just amazing that such a simple plot device can keep on being reinvented. So good, I guess.
Yeah, who would want to watch a cartoon that's been on for so many years, right? That's
yeah,
annoying.
It's really annoying. And to talk about it over and over again, week after week, that's dumb.
Well, Lisa screams, drops her flashlight, and runs into the bushes, where she meets a colony of bats flying towards her. She emerges from the shrub and trips on a rock, causing her to hit her head on a tombstone that reads, "Loving Aunt, So Mother." So because she hit her head, she has brain damage, blood pours from her head, and now she's dead.
Wow, and it is sad because she would have been a loving aunt and a so-so mother had she lived.
But now that she's dead, they can just throw her in the grave because she's at a cemetery.
That is convenient.
Graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
That's it. No, Lisa lies knocked out in the graveyard, or cemetery, when Marge and Homer return home with the book that will solve all of her problems. And they ask Bart about where Lisa is, and he tells them that she's facing her fears in the boneyard out back. And Marge is angry that Bart is just sitting there, but he claims that he's monitoring the TV for news on updates about where Lisa could be, should anything happen.
Marge points out that Bart is just watching cartoons. And then we see that he's in fact watching an episode of Itchy and Scratchy. So in the cartoon, Scratchy sees a theater presenting Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber's show Cats. And he thinks it's just the show for him. So Scratchy sits in the audience witnessing another feline on stage go on about how Tim Tom Tabby is a curious cat who went to see the Queen in a velveteen hat.
So Scratchy remarks how boring the show is before pulling out a gun and shooting himself in the head, lasting blood and brains all over the face of the aristocratic woman, or may I say aristocratic woman, seated next to him, who shushes him. Bart laughs at the tune and then asks Marge if they can have fried chicken for dinner.
Is this the best Itchy and Scratchy?
I think it might be. It's straight and to the point. And I like that Itchy, wasn't an asshole. He was just an usher.
Yeah, the fact that Scratchy took his own life because of the horrible cats. And I feel like there's been so much Andrew Lloyd Webber shaming on this podcast in the past couple episodes because of The Simpsons. They drop a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber shaming. It's great.
It's true. It's nobody likes cats. I mean, I love the animal, but not the play.
Right. I mean, it'd be better if we saw their buttholes, but here we are.
Isn't that always the case?
I mean, in the movie, Steve.
Oh.
It's also just funny that Bart watches this horror and just wants fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Homer and Marge then head to the graveyard to find Lisa, shouting her name and explaining that they aren't evil spirits, though if they were, they'd probably take the shape of her parents. That's true. So they unknowingly walk by an unconscious Lisa, who dreams of the worst.
In Lisa's vision, she's falling into a black void until she lands on the lap of a sweet old lady in a rocking chair. The woman says, "Grandma will protect you," and then pulls off its face, revealing a sinister skull who deviously declares that it ain't Grandma before swallowing Lisa whole. Once again, Lisa falls, landing on a spider web, and an arachnid version of Bart introduces Lisa to her spouse, Milhouse, as a giant slug. She then meets the monsters from her beloved book.
Lisa, meet your new husband.
I made us a dream house out of slime. I don't know how I reproduce, but we'll have a great time figuring it out.
Where am I?
Welcome to the land of wild beasts, little girl.
Not scared, not scared.
For God's sake, girl, you're 8 years old. It's natural for you to feel scared sometime.
But I'm too smart to get scared.
Lisa, everybody gets scared, no matter how old or how smart they are. In fact, I'm scared of her.
No, you're afraid of intimacy.
That's because I know after we mate, you'll eat me.
Your brother didn't seem to mind.
Steve, if we mate, will you eat me?
I'll eat you on, like, the 3rd date, but we're not going to mate until, like, the 5th. I mean, I'm not a slut.
All right.
I'm not sure, like, Milhouse, as a slug, it's gross, and it feels like very cum-adjacent.
Cum-adjacent. Are slugs just cum to you?
I mean, yes.
Are you sluggish with your cum, Steve?
I mean, you've heard of a snail trail. That's kind of the same thing.
Lisa tells the creatures that they seem scary at first, but when she gets a little closer, she finds that they're just funny. So the monsters nod in agreement, one of them blasting flames through its nose. Lisa asks how she's supposed to sleep with the graveyard right outside her window. And one of the monsters tells her to slowly draw the blinds, calling Lisa a silly goose.
Another beast suggests that she gets a nightlight, but as Lisa explains, Homer feels that they're too expensive. The monsters grumble, adding that nightlights are like, what, $4 a piece? And Slug Milhouse offers to slime Homer, again, cum adjacent, much like he made a slime Paris for their honeymoon. But Lisa thinks that she can handle things on her own terms.
I think I'll be okay by myself.
What is it about slime that chicks don't dig?
Bye, guys. You really helped me a lot.
Bye-bye, Lisa.
See you soon. We're always just a concussion away.
Lisa, honey, please wake up. If you do, I'll get you a new pony.
New pony?
This is still part of your dream. Dreaming, dreaming. Now you're awake.
Sweetie, we're gonna get you home and straighten out all these fears you have.
I think I'm gonna be fine. Let's get some breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
Yay, breakfast. So, as Homer, Marge, and Lisa walk happily home for a morning meal, Lou tells a naked Chief Wiggum that it's safe to come down from the tree that he's been hiding in. And Lou offers a pizza bagel, and Clancy appears behind him in full uniform saying, "Let's roll." And that's our episode.
Would you like a pizza bagel?
I would. Let's roll.
Okay, you want a roll, pizza roll, is that what you're saying?
Pizza on a bagel, pizza on a roll, pizza at supper time. When you have pizza, I'll eat it.
Okay. Any other form of pizza you wouldn't eat? Like, if it was on a tortilla, would you eat that? Would you consider that a pizza?
I would. I've made a pizza tortilla. It's not horrible.
Okay. How about a Ritz cracker?
That sounds buttery and delicious. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about a potato chip?
Oh my gosh. Keebler used to make pizza chips that were so good.
Yeah, why don't they bring those back? Those were great.
Yeah.
All right, well, enough reminiscing about food products, Steve. I think we need to reminisce about The Simpsons. But before we reminisce a little bit more, I need to take a break. Is that okay?
I guess so.
All right, we will be right back. All right, Steve, we are back. Let's wrap up this week's episodes with some favorite jokes and an MVJ, what we liked about the episode. Give it a review, find out what we're watching next week. But before all that is said, we like to find something from the episode that can be a gift. And Steve, while there's quite a few things I can give you from this episode, I decided to give you the one thing that you want the most, and that is a jumbo shrimp.
Oh, yum.
You get a giant shrimp with the huge poop intestine that you gotta clean out. Sorry, I'm not gonna do it for you.
Aw.
And to wash that down with some Flanders French roast, because you love French roast coffee.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Craig, that's very sweet of you. Well, I got you a beverage too. It's a blender full of margaritas, so you can wake up drunk, as I know you like to do. And hey, while we're eating, let's get you a $4.99 steak. And, well, if you're bored after your cocktail and your meat, I'm gonna get you a sack of body parts that you can do with, whatever you see fit.
I might just eat them, Steve.
Fair enough.
What made you chuckle in this episode?
Oh boy, I really like the beginning with the signs, like the, Springfield Docent Like a Museum, Death to America with America crossed out, stamp museums. I like Homer's chants. The silliness of this episode in general. It's a very dumb episode for Homer, which I appreciate. The Itchy and Scratchy episode was top tier. I liked the way that the plot wrapped around. What made you laugh in this episode, Craig?
Yeah, definitely the Itchy and Scratchy was great. Throwing shade at, of course, cats. And you're right, the beginning with Homer and his signs being a dick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Classic Dick Homer. Bart being kind of a dick to Lisa, you know, classic Bart. And then also him in his race car bed was fun scenes. And let's not forget the shade of Bonanza.
Oh, yes.
That Bonanza episode. But I think I gotta go with the Itchy and Scratchy. It's definitely my favorite. Homer at the psychiatrist was pretty good, too.
Mm-hmm.
About to burn it down. I like that. Nice scene, Dr. Nick. MVJ, it might be Homer. I think it just might be Homer. You know, it's one of those Homer gets the jokes.
I think Homer is the clear MVJ in this episode. I think that, like you say, Dr. Nick had a good showing. We got two nice Tress characters with both the museum worker introducing not Maurice Sendak and the counselor. But I think, yeah, Homer takes it for this episode.
Just give us a review of the episode, Steve, in your words.
In my words, Craig, I did not like this episode upon first viewing many, many years ago. But I really enjoyed it this time around. I thought that Lisa being a kid works well, partially because they explain why she's a kid, because as the counselor was saying that, you know, she was forced to grow up, so she still has those repressed childhood feelings. So her being scared kind of makes sense. I think tying in the stamp museum into the plot so seamlessly works really well. I love the animation of the Maurice Sendak-like characters. I think the fantasy animation was really fun with the grandma pulling off her head and having the skull there. All in all, I had a fun time with this episode. More fun than I thought I would have. So I'm going to say that this is a watch for me. It feels, even though like we have a jerk-ass dumb Homer, it does feel of its time. The kids are very kid-like. And it checks a lot of the boxes that I want out of like a classic Simpsons episode. And I think it does that well. So if I had to give this some sort of numerical rating, the book, Where the Wild Things Are, is actually 40 pages long, front to back. And so out of 40, I'm going to give this a 35. What are your thoughts, Craig?
Yeah, I feel like this episode takes its time. There's just a lot of gags before we really get to like the plot of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's the girl who slept too little, and like they build a cemetery, but then we spend like Act 2 at the stamp museum. Like,
yeah,
it's just that we come back to the stamp museum because you feel like that joke would just be a one-off. Like, okay, there was going to be a stamp museum, but they moved it, and now it's a cemetery, and like you're going to stick the story there. But the fact that we actually go to the stamp museum seems really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And in a good way, right? And then we have like a long, like just scene of a commercial parody.
Yeah.
With the Wild Things Are. And then we go back, you know, the show's like halfway over. Then we go back to that plot of the graveyard. And then we meet Groundskeeper Willie's cousin, who's got 2 scenes, but then we don't see him again. Or like, what's the point of his character?
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of like weird scenes. Like, I don't know, it's just a weird episode.
It is weird, I will admit that.
Like, and then there's a plot with the cops now.
Yeah.
And Chief Wiggum, like, where is this coming from?
And are they after Gravedigger Willie? Like,
is that what they're trying to, is that where we're trying to get to?
Or are they going after Dr. Nick? Because they're both robbing graves.
Right. And it's just like, I guess, Lisa's concussion cures her fears?
It's the power of books.
I know you like the episode. I just think it's a weird episode. Like,
that's fair. I mean, it is a weird episode. It is, yeah.
Maybe I'm just like, I'm coming off of like having the flu, and so everything seems like a fever dream to me. So I just think it's a very weird episode. That's how I'll put it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just, it baffles me. This is, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I think that's a very fair assessment. It is a baffling episode, and I think the fact that it is so weird and so plot light is kind of what appeals to me, but I can understand how it would be like, it's also kind of not a bad episode, but it's a little off as episodes go.
Like a slow episode in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get a ranking, Steve, like they make fun of Bonanza. And as you said, there was a total of 431 episodes. So out of 431, I will give this episode I won't do a number. I'll just give you a title of episode. I think this is kind of like season 8's episode 9's Old Charlie, written by Bob and Wanda Duncan, Steve.
Oh, man, that episode, that really encapsulates your feelings about this episode. It's tough, but it's fair.
It's no episode 10 from that season, which was The Ballad of the Ponderosa, which was probably one of the best.
Yes, the musical episode.
Well, the episode 14 was called Tommy, which was about a pinball wizard on the Ponderosa, right?
Yes. That deaf, dumb, and dyed kid sure do play a mean pinball.
And how could you forget that season 15, the episode that aired December 25th, was called A Christmas Story? Like, it was the best Christmas ever as a kid who grew up in 1966, right?
Yes. When the kid actually did shoot his eye out.
We got a TV on that Christmas, and we got to turn and watch that episode on Christmas Day.
Wow. Classic.
Yeah. Written by, of course, the great Thomas Thompson.
Good old Tommy.
All right, Steve. I'm going to stop looking at episode titles of what show Bonanza. Steve, real quickly, the last episode of Bonanza was called The Hunter, and was written and directed by Michael Landon.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, enough of this, Steve. We're not talking about the Ponderosa anymore.
No.
Stay tuned for our Patreon podcast, which we will cover all 14 seasons of Bonanza eventually.
Would you say that we're going bonanzas for Bonanza?
I would say so, Steve. I can't wait to watch our first episode. Season 1, episode 1, A Rose for Lada.
Ah, yes.
Or do we do it like this podcast? We'll random, but only watch from seasons 11 and beyond.
The quote-unquote new age past the golden age.
I think that's the way to go, Steve. We'll start from season 11. Okay. All right. Enough of this chatter. Steve, I think we said it all, right?
I think so.
Did you review this? Yes, you did. You gave it a ranking and everything. All right. Look, Steve, all we want to know is if people like us. And we'll find out that later, but we have to find out what we're watching next week instead.
Indeed.
Yeah. I thought we were done. I forgot we gotta continue the show, right? We're not just done doing a Bonanza podcast.
No, we got to do another Simpsons episode next week.
So Steve, surprise, surprise, we got to do the Wheel of Random this last week, finally. But unfortunately, we have to put the Wheel of Random away for a week because we got a brand new episode, but it's not going to be on your bunny ears on your Sunday nights at 8 o'clock on your local Fox channel, Steve. No, you have to download an app called Disney Plus to watch this episode. That's right, it's going to be another special. So, Steve, what do you think the title of this special on Disney Plus is going to be called? I'll give you a hint. It's season 36, and it's episode 14, so it's technically part of season 36.
Okay, well, this episode that we watched this week is called The Girl Who Slept Too Little, which was a take on some spy thing, but it's also a Bill Murray movie in the 90s called The Man Who Knew Too Little. And so I think this might be based on another Bill Murray movie, Lost in Translation. So I think it's going to be called Lisa in Translation.
Ah, well, that sounds like a fun romp, but it's not, Steve.
No.
It's based off of a title of your favorite Vin Diesel movies. That's right. No, not the Riddick movies, Steve.
No.
But the Fast and Furious movies. In fact, it's called The Past and the Furious.
Wow.
What do you think that would be about?
All right. I'm going to say that at a police auction, Homer buys a DeLorean. And as he's backing out of the car lot, he runs over Vin Diesel. And in a B-plot, Professor Frink helps Bart invent a time machine to help him do his homework, but Homer takes the time machine and takes his DeLorean to unhit Vin Diesel so that they can star together in an Iron Giant sequel.
I don't see any of those words on the description, so I think you're wrong.
Aw, crap.
Yeah. But there is time travel, Steve, so you're kind of close. It's got Lisa, Steve. Lisa travels back in time to 1923 and discovers that the Springfield mini moose, once key to the town's ecosystem, were driven to extinction in 1925. So, teaming up with a young Monty Burns, Lisa works to save the moose, but her actions unintentionally shape his future as a ruthless raccoon.
Ooh.
Oh, that was a typo. Tycoon, Steve. Tycoon.
Ah. You got moose, you got raccoons, and you got tycoons. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It does, Steve. And you could watch it anytime you want, Steve. You don't have to wait till 8 o'clock on a Sunday to watch it.
It's true.
Yeah. But you have to wait till February 12th, 2025. If you only had a time machine, Steve, you can go in the future and watch this.
If only.
But you could wait a couple days, I suppose. And our review will be up like a week after this episode drops. So that's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no one cares. Look, written by Robbie Lebzibnik and directed by a person. So this is a Robbie Lebzibnik joint. Are you looking forward to pressing play on your Disney Plus?
Oh, you know I am. It's going to be exciting.
Do we have to tell our listeners how to get Disney Plus?
First, you have to fly to California, and you have to ask Mickey, and he'll send you to Donald. We'll take you to Goofy. Goofy will say Gorsh, and then you got to talk to Daisy, and eventually you have to unbury the decapitated head of Walt Disney and find Curly's gold. I know that City Slickers has nothing to do with Disney, but it's just the way you do it. And then you call your cable subscriber, you cancel your cable, you get the money from that, and then you order Disney Plus.
And use the promo code Annoyed Grunt Boy sends you to Disney Plus for a promo code 1982 $! Parentheses 227-468 $! Percentage ampersand asterisk parentheses /Donkey Show, and you'll get 10% off, right?
Yep, that's right. It's just that simple.
All right. Well, now, folks, contact us on email at 13simpsons@gmail.com and let us know how much you hate us and love us. Mostly love. Or, our social medias at 13simpsons, like YouTube or Threads, Instagram.
And hey, if you're so kind, go to your favorite podcatching app, leave us 5 stars or the equivalent, but you needn't write an actual review. Just let us know what fear keeps you up at night.
And don't forget to go to tpublic.com/user/annoyedgruntboys for some swag from this podcast. And hey, thanks again for listening, everybody. I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Craig.
And I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Steve.
And remember, I don't know how to reproduce, but we will have a great time finding out.
Read the patent number, bitch.
That's bull, man.